that's in there, and then like the workers' comp stuff, I think, and stuff, but a lot of that we have a little bit of operations. It's not very big because we don't, I mean, outside of, body bags, needles, things of that nature, we don't usually use much. And then the autopsy, instead of actually budgeting an autopsy, it was more of a CIP, I think, is there's money put in there on paying the other need. Where I think we figured we kind of averaged right around 9. I think we're actually over that this year. The increased cost from the crime lab has not helped in any form or fashion. The other thing that hasn't happened, and I need to have a discussion with Scott Larson from the crime lab on that, is I haven't got a definitive answer if they're gonna start charging for toxicology. They brought it up, but they won't admit or deny that's the path they're gonna go down. So that might be something I'm hoping to have a better idea come this next budget. Start planning for the next budget, because I don't want something, if they're gonna go down that road, I'd rather have it budgeted. But really, we don't put a lot into the coroner budget at all, because most of our cost is with autopsy, and we never have really in general good idea on what we're doing there, the number wise. So I think wage wise we're sitting okay, but I don't know there's not much else that's there. So we have a small amount for the dues for the Coroners Association, and then there's just not much there. So things are looking a little bleak. So.
Well, I think it's a good proposal. I support it. You guys have any questions?
That, get us so it isn't ambulance appearance, maybe I repaint the whole outfit. I see it's blue and white now.
It's blue and white. I think what they can do though is it only goes up. They got neat idea. Put the heartbeat on the sign. They painted it on there, so it's. Undersheriff has looked at a couple different things, and they can actually just go up and I think and just do like halfway, and I think it would eliminate that. I don't want to paint the whole thing. I've looked at and all the blue stuff that's on there is all outlined with a reflective striping, but it all looks like it's painted. But I'm thinking that if we can cover up the big parts, and then if there's something above it, they can maybe just sand it down, paint it white, and just be done with it. But I was a little shocked. I didn't think that anybody would paint stripes on there, but they did. So.
Would you put on like our sheriff's?
Well, what we're gonna do,
triangle
we're just
or
just to cover it up real easy, was just have it painted black on the bottom, and then we'll just put the sheriff logo on the top where I think it says Broadwater Ambulance on the side, and that actually looks like a decal. That doesn't look like it's painted, unless I'm completely wrong, but it looks like a decal. Because I've spent some time looking through it.
The Durango, are those decals they'll all
Yeah,
come off?
so they're a vinyl decal put on it, auto trim, and Donnie peeled the last ones off. They're not as bad because they're the small sections, so he uses a heat gun and he gets them off there. So the only thing we'd have to do, I think, that would be somewhat time consuming, is just have Capcom pull the light bar and control box and stuff off. And I don't think that's that big of a deal. So, there's no reason for us to go and start tearing apart the wiring harness to do that. And so we have that capabilities as well. And then we take the cage out of it, and because unfortunately the cages, they're kind of like everything else in the world. They're built for that vehicle model, and they don't fit anything else. So that's just the great thing about police work, is that it's good for a year, and then it doesn't fit anything else after they change the body style. So I guess we'll have to go down that road at some point.
I would move to grant the transfer of the ambulance as described in the proposal from the sheriff, as well as the Dodge Durango, taking it off your hands.
Second that.
Motion's been made, second, to transfer the ambulance to the sheriff's coroner's department and to transfer the Dodge Durango from the sheriff's department to the extension office. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same. Motion carries.
And I wanna commend you whenever we can share between departments, everybody wins, and this is a great example of that, so thank you.
Thank you. And what I'll do is, I'll probably talk to a couple different paint shops in Helena there, and I'll come back and talk to you before I go down. Before I go down any path, I will have a conversation about it with you. So, just so there's no question about what's gonna happen. But I'd like to be able to have the opportunity to have them look it over and come up with the best solution that's there. And I think for the most part, it's, like I said, it has a capability of holding a lot of supplies, but transporting at least 3 scenes is something that we don't have the luxury of doing right now. So that would, I think, is gonna help tremendously. We do have a couple issues and just some small stuff like the window tinting the back. Obviously, we don't want people to have the ability to look inside there. And so we're gonna just black those out so people can't. We can see out, but they can't see in. And then I think there's put a little bit of table in there with the mobile data terminals that the other sheriff's looking at getting with that grant. A lot of this stuff, when we pull up to a scene, they'll be able to log a lot of that evidence and stuff right there in the van. So when they come back, they can download their pictures and look at them before they even leave the scene, because once we walk away, we release that, and that's not the best time to do it. So I think it should help from Corey's aspect as well when we're doing those bigger scenes. So, yeah.
Hey, when, Helena College has been working with our school
Mhm.
on some apprenticeships, and right now Mr. Watson's class has been installing lights around town, the senior center. They did the concrete. They're actually building historic windows to historic specs for some of our old schoolhouses. Is there a shop class at the school that could perhaps do your painting for you?
I don't, in Helena, they used to, I don't know if they have an auto-body program here in Helena, but when I was in Helena, I repainted stuff. I just don't know, I don't know if anybody has that here. And I don't know what they look like, especially being so late in the year as well, but.
Oh, good point.
Because we're getting towards the latter part of the school year for these guys, but, we're gonna look at some different options and see what's out there, so, it's not something I wanna do. It's just, that wasn't what I had in mind, but it is a 90, I think it's a 99, 97. It's got 95,000, it's in good shape, they've done pretty good maintenance on it. They spent $1,000 last year in maintenance on it, and that's going back in 16, it was similar in nature. So they've done very good at keeping that thing up to speed, especially for being 12 years old. So it doesn't look like there's too many major issues that have to be dealt with. And I think on a limited basis that we'd be utilizing it, it shouldn't be too bad. So just long remember to plug that thing in the winter. So since it's a diesel, but other than that, so, and it does something. It reuses the investment the county made 20 years ago. So
It's a good plan you put together, thank you.
thank you.
Thanks.
I'll give this one.
Thank you.
we're a little bit ahead of schedule here. Let's see. Ryan Holmes, Solid Waste Supervisor, Solid Waste Board, Waste Management, request for proposal recommendation.
I'll turn it over to John, since he's the chairman of the solid waste board. I'll sit here for moral support too.
We had a meeting on March 6th, and thank you, Lord, for printing those up. I seen everybody had
Oh.
those copies.
I didn't hand them out. I'm sitting on it, so thanks for the reminder.
The board printed up I was out of ink, so I didn't get them printed up, but they were minutes from our meeting on March 6th, when we went through the RFPs for the carriers for the landfill. And went through Mike was there at the meeting. We went through the RFPs, and we came to the conclusion that we think that, and we appreciate our work with Dave Duffy and stuff, and he's a private industry, but we felt that Lewis and Clark was our best option for saving money. They were the low bidder on hauling to the transfer station, to their landfill from our transfer station. So they were at $26 a ton, and then $23 on construction waste. Tri-County was at $29 a ton and $23 on the construction waste. But it's a little bit further to Lewis and Clark, but we are hoping to, if you accept our recommendation for Lewis and Clark, hauling to the Lewis and Clark landfill, that you will look into an interlocal agreement with them, and I'm pretty positive they can probably save us some money that way. The contract goes until June 30th, and that should give us some time to investigate the interlocal agreement. Also, there's some other options with the interlocal agreement that we might be able to utilize here in Broward County, such as they've been through the process of finding people that haven't paid their assessment fees, and so they have a good person to do that, and so they might be able to add that into an interlocal agreement to help us find those people. We've been having trouble with the State Department getting those people located. So there's some other options there, but anyway, the board has recommended going with Lewis and Clark on this position. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Is there any public comment? Sir?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to take an opportunity to interject our thoughts from Tri-County. We had a professional engineer put together a study in the last couple of weeks. And I brought copies for you and other people that need them. And I'd like to make a presentation on our behalf. I'd like to thank you for providing the time for us to address you. My name is Dave Duffy. I'm the General Manager at Tri-County Disposal. And I'm here to speak today on behalf of Donna Tennyson, who is the original owner of Tri-County Disposal, and myself and our employees. And we ask the opportunity to address the Commission regarding the recent RFP for solid waste service out of fairness. Lewis and Clark County and the City of Helena had communications with Broadwater County, City of Townsend, dating back to at least last summer and probably earlier, to help have some input in this RFP to stipulate the hauling of the solid waste. And we haven't had the opportunity until now to discuss our concerns with that. I'm here to ask you to delay the vote on awarding the contract for solid waste disposal in order to give the Commission time to review whether this will actually save any money. Further, we ask that you delay the vote in order to consider the appropriateness of awarding a contract to a governmental body that seems intent on competing in the private sector. For background, Tri-County Disposal is a female, family-owned company that's been in business in our community for more than 50 years. We have 20 employees, we pay good wages, and we provide full benefits for our employees. More importantly, we've provided landfill services to Broadwater County for over 18 years with no serious problems whatsoever. We've held the current contract for the last 7 years, and in those 7 years, this small company has donated over $200,000 to local nonprofits, paid over $3 million in state, federal, and local taxes, and another $370,000 in fuel taxes. Those fuel taxes are returned to cities and counties. We've gone above and beyond to be good providers and good stewards of your taxpayers' money. We've lent company equipment at no charge on several occasions, and even staffed your transfer station 3 times with our employees back in 2005. That was before my time, but I have a feeling that either somebody was on vacation or somebody was sick, and I found records on our computers that we staffed your transfer station for you, which we're more than willing to help you guys out at any time. I think you can ask Brian. Just in the last 3 months, we've lent a roll-off truck at no cost for almost 3 weeks. Our mechanic made 3 trips to Townsend to repair one of your balers. The parts alone were over $2,300, and I had no intention of billing Broadwater County. Just because you're good customers, and we feel that we have to treat you right. And I think that's something that we have the expertise to do, and Brian didn't have anybody on his staff to fulfill that need. So we'd like you to hold off on the vote because we don't believe the bid from Lewis and Clark County will actually save you money, and it doesn't appear that it's been looked at. I have provided a handout, which I handed you, that shows some calculations we had professional engineer develop, and I'd appreciate the opportunity to present this handout to your solid waste board and have them take a serious look at somebody else's viewpoint on the cost to drive that extra 32 miles. This bid, Lewis and Clark County, requires the waste to be hauled 16 miles further than what you're hauling to our landfill. The route is more congested, contains more hazards, and more areas of restricted speed. In short, your drivers and your equipment are going to be on the road and exposed to hazards for greater periods of time. Additionally, when your trucks get to the county landfill, your drivers will have to get in and out of their track to manually open 2 doors, enter their account number, into a computer when they're weighing in, and then the same thing when they're weighing out. Because the county landfill, Site E, doesn't have a scale operator. Our scale is staffed and your drivers never have to get out of the truck. Based on the number of loads that came into our landfill from Broadwater County last year, that's 200 loads a year. That's 800 more times your drivers are gonna get 400 out and 400 in. Another 800 times that they're gonna be risking. The biggest accident in trucking is getting in and out of a truck. There's some statistics in that report that I gave you that quantifies that. We believe you should ask your drivers and see what they prefer, show. We show from the handout provided that it certainly isn't an economic choice. Lastly, we would hope the commission will ask how and why this RFP came about. Why did Lewis and Clark County and the city of Helena approach you last summer to support Helena's bid for a Class D permit at the Public Service Commission? What is the real intent here? The reality is that those two entities began lobbying Broadwater County to put this RFP together because they want to compete with Tri-County as if they too were a private business. This is not new. It is something that we've seen them do for decades. We find it very troubling. If this were a level playing field where we were competing against another private company, we wouldn't have issues with it. But it's not. These are public entities supported with taxpayers' taxes and fees of their residents. Excuse me. These are public entities supported by taxes and fees of their residents, which they leverage to unfairly undercut us in the private sector. As evidence, residents of Lewis and Clark County pay $58.75 a ton for solid waste. And we're required to haul our waste to the City of Helena's transfer station. The bid they gave you is less than half of that and allows Broadwater County to haul directly to the landfill on already congested haul routes. The goal is to take away our customers, not to save Broadwater County residents any money in the long run. The reason the City of Helena asked you to support their application for the Class D permit is through this bid. Lewis and Clark County wants to get the city involved with their equipment to haul your waste to the Lewis and Clark County landfill. They've suggested that this will save you money by no longer having to do the hauling yourself. You need to be aware that in 2001, in a settlement with Tri-County and the Montana State Solid Waste Contractors Association, the City of Helena stipulated it would not engage in any solid waste hauling outside the city limits. This would obviously conflict with that and raise legal questions. Mr. Chair and Commissioners, we're very proud of the service we've provided Broadwater County for the past 18 years. We want to continue that, but we also want to make sure that whatever decision you make, you have the full understanding of the issues, the actual costs, and the ramifications. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I guess, Dave, I do have this letter that you sent to each one of the commissioners in the year. one of the questions here was whether or not, Lewis and Clark County could provide the, equipment should we have a significant breakdown. And the question was whether or not Mr. Griffin was legally allowed to make that statement. And also with the other part of that was whether or not Lewis and Clark would, continue to hold to that amount of the price per ton, but that's part of the contract, is the price of that ton, of that tonnage would stay the same through the contract. So I don't know if the price per ton would be an issue, however, I do see that we don't have a written agreement with them as far as supplying replacement equipment should it be needed. I would think that would be one thing that we would want to definitely get in writing from the Lewis and Clark Commission, or from Mr. Griffin if he is actually allowed to make that promise.
Mr. Chair, I know that Lewis and Clark County's roll-off truck is a cable hoist. It's not the hook hoist that we have. I've actually kept, we have 4 full-size roll-off trucks. I've actually kept, we have 2 spares at all times, and sometimes 3 depending on how busy we are. And even when Brian called me and needed a truck in November, we had a truck broke down and I still had a truck to supply to him. Because I've kept him around just for that reason, knowing that he might need it, we might need it. You know, it's something that we can do. I don't know if Mr. Griffin has the authority to even promise things when he's, my problem, I guess, with him promising things is he's doing that with my tax dollars. We're doing it out of our pocket. Anything that we do for free, it's coming out of our pocket, which we're fine with because you've been very good customers. What Mr. Griffin does, he's doing with my tax dollars. I don't agree with that. And I certainly would have been present at the last solid waste board, and you can ask Brian, I called him and asked him if he thought I should be there. And he said, I can't tell you that you can't come because it's a public meeting. But he said, I think the board and I will have a lot more frank discussion about things if there's not public there. So I elected to stay home, which I wish I hadn't, because I had put up this argument then in front of your solid waste board.
Mike, if I may, Brian, can you describe the 2 routes, all the intricacies, the roads, and if you have to get out of the truck numerous times, what does each route look like?
To
Just
get
so
to,
that we have a vision and.
well, I know the Tri-County route pretty well because I do it several times a week. But basically, it's 3 left turns and I'm there. I take a left turn onto the highway at the bridge. I take a left turn onto the Montana City Highway, and I take another left turn into the landfill. Once I get to the landfill, it's pull on the scale, wait for the green light to shine. I drive up into the landfill, get out, open the doors, empty the truck. That usually goes pretty smooth, except when it's really muddy. Coming out, I stop on the scale, I go in and get a copy of the weigh ticket. And then it's 3 right turns and I'm back to Townsend. I've never driven the route that we would have to take, and it is a designated route by DEQ for us to use to get to Site E landfill. But it's going past where we turn to go to Tri-County's landfill in East Helena, to the other end of town, make a right turn onto Wiley Drive. Go down Wiley Drive through a stoplight at Canyon Ferry Road, make another right turn at York Road, which is an unmarked intersection. Continue down to I don't know, was that Lake Helena at Fox Ridge Golf Course?
You take a right on Canyon Ferry and then a left on, I don't know, either Valley or Lake Helena, either one.
You really, that intersection on Wiley Drive to York Road is a bad intersection. It's a stop sign with cars coming at a bad angle, which is terrible for a transfer truck to accident. They'll probably make the right on Canyon Ferry Road and head down to either Valley Drive or Lake Helena Drive, whichever one's specified. Lake Helena is just a chip seal road.
Yeah, Lake Helena is
So it'd probably be
weight
Valley
limited, we
Drive.
can't do it.
So you take a left there and then hit the stop sign and then take another right
Yeah,
onto
and then-
York Road.
And then once we're to the intersection on, I believe it's Lake Helena, at Fox Ridge Golf Course
Yep,
there,
yep.
we take a left turn there down to Deal Lane, which takes us into the landfill.
Left on Dealey, you have another mile before you take another left or right or right and then another right and then on the scale.
There's
It's,
actually 5 more turns going to,
What's that?
there's actually 5 more turns to make going to Site E.
I apologize for not introducing myself, Chairman and County Commissioners. I'm actually one of the owners of Tri-County Disposal, between my mom and my sister and I, so I'm just here basically support Dave and thank you for your business, well, not for the past years going on. Just from looking at what you're doing, you're basically doubling your time and putting a lot more risk into the home, which is effectively runs into a cost. And without going into it at this point blind, signing a contract up front, I think I would think that the county would let you haul in there and just bill you for what you bring in and get a good assessment of what is going on as far as time concerned, what issues you might run into. We have no objection with a lower bid other than we are basically feel that through this whole process somewhere, we're probably gonna be subsidizing your garbage, which is a whole different issue. It's none of your concern really at that point in time. But still, for even your residents' benefits, to really effectively say it's gonna save you $15,000, it's not accurate at all.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I may, Dave, you mentioned the number of times that you would get out of the truck. Brian mentioned 2, currently at Tri-County.
I didn't realize he got out and I thought we just shipped him the weight tickets. I didn't realize he got out of the truck to get the weight tickets, to be honest with you.
Okay,
I
so
thought
it'd
we
be the
just-
same?
I thought, no,
or-
it'd be double,
It would still be double?
cause he'd have, well,
I'd have to
yeah.
get out when I pull on the scale, get out again when I pull off the scale. At Lewis and Clark.
Okay, and then also get off to get the certificate?
I think they all come from the same spot. I don't know if Lewis and Clark prints a ticket at their weigh scale or not.
The difference would be total of about 400 then per year, because I didn't realize Brian was getting out of his truck to get his weight ticket at our scale. I thought we just mailed them at the end of the month. I didn't realize that.
You do, but then I use those to make sure we match up.
Okay,
Effectively, you'd be out one more time out of the truck at the scale.
And back in, so
Around
400.
okay.
That's another thing that I didn't bring up on the record is, I think it was back in '07, our front office made a mistake on some tickets that amounted to a little bit over 80 tons, and we weren't gonna come back to Townsend and say, you owe us another, whatever it was. We wrote off the whole 80 tons of garbage that we could have billed you for, but didn't, because it was our mistake.
So Brian,
Chairman, with these new comments, things that's come up, maybe we should hold off on our decision and let the board speak, talk with Tri-County and Brian.
and Mr. Chair, I agree. And also, Brian, if you could, we have a map here in this report, thank you very much. Could you provide a couple of maps of your routes, what each of the different routes would be?
I have.
I got confused with the lefts and the rights.
They're both in there.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, if you keep going in another page or two, the route to Site E's in there.
Oh, it's just the next page.
That does utilize Valley Drive, doesn't it? It uses Wiley going down to Canyon Ferry, then down to Valley, then down to York, down to Lake County. So that would be the route probably that you would have to take.
The route that I found was in the original EIS for Site E landfill for waste coming from Broadwater County. And it was to Wiley Drive, straight down to York Road, and then out to the landfill. And I believe that's what we'd have to use, because that's what DEQ says we need to use.
Okay, and it's different than this map?
A little bit.
Okay.
His original right onto Wiley Drive, you just go straight through down to York Road then, at that point. So if you
Okay.
follow that first red line on Wiley, just follow that down, that same road down to York Road.
Okay.
Is that intersection of Wiley and York Road, is that a,
It's horrible.
Terrible. You got a bad angle of cars coming at you this way as you're turning this way, which,
And it's you can't see to your right very far, so you don't know if you can, that truck cannot make that turn, I don't think, without getting in the other
wide.
lane.
Yeah. It's a horrible intersection for any larger truck. Most people don't use that at all if they're pulling a trailer of any size.
Excuse me, I just had a question. Does, understand Helena Sand and Gravel, they're down in that area, did they use that same route?
I don't know, I've never seen a hit, no, they're restricted from, they come out of their pit that's located on Lake Helena Drive, and they can't go south. They have to go north to Canyon Ferry, go around the roundabout, and then I've never seen one of their trucks, whether it's a single axle dump truck or a truck pulling a trailer, take Wiley Drive to York and make a right-hand turn. I don't like doing it in a straight truck of ours. You know, I make sure I'm looking down the highway way before I get to the intersection, because you're looking blind, you're trying to see way back behind you where the cars are coming from, and that's 60 miles an hour, so, you know, they're coming at you pretty fast compared to the other intersections out there. So, that's another thing for everybody's information, the corner of York Road and Lake Helena Drive, they're getting ready to put another roundabout in that you're gonna have to not only deal with the traffic jams up and all this, the construction part of it, but even when it's finished, it's a roundabout that the truck will have to go around.
Or over.
yeah,
Those sit around, not big outfits.
they make them just big enough for a car.
The only thing they've come on, some of them now, they have them slopes so they don't blow the tires quite so bad, but
They're all black, every one of them, aren't they?
And could I make a suggestion too, that if you wanna put this decision off, could we have a consolidated meeting with the solid waste and the commissioners and Tri-County and Lewis and Clark to settle some of these things if there's no questions? Would that be a possibility? Rather than just passing our stuff on from the solid waste to the county commissioners, that way everybody would have, certain questions could all be answered at the same time.
I'd be willing. I
I'd
think
be
it's a good
willing to do
idea.
yeah,
I think so.
Could it be a nighttime meeting or?
I'm good with that too.
nighttime probably be best for everyone.
Yeah, be all right, a few days.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a good idea, John, thank you.
When is your next solid waste?
Would be next Tuesday, the 27th.
Commissioners won't be here that week.
Yeah.
We could call a special meeting too, it wouldn't be a big deal.
We could do it that first week of April if we need to, or whatever.
Okay. We had the others on Tuesdays.
Mhm.
I would request not a Tuesday. I'm good with any other day, but Tuesdays for me are crazy. City Council, Rotary, and Fall Fest. But if we have to do it on a Tuesday, I'll make it work.
Would Monday the second, the night of Monday the second work?
Yes.
That works for you, John?
That's the NCAA national playoff game.
Oh, yeah. Never mind. How about Wednesday the fourth?
Got a lot of money on that
Agree with
baby, yeah.
So Wednesday the fourth work for everyone, 7 o'clock?
As far as I know, I have to contact every board member, but I would think it'd be all
Okay.
right.
Have that here. Okay.
7 o'clock or 6:30 or what time?
Could I request maybe a more neutral location? This is kind of our domain, and this is more of a conversation. Could we, you guys meet at the front room of the Betsy, could we do the back room of the Betsy? And there's that big table,
You probably have to ask the owner.
We can probably make that work.
would that work?
Okay.
I just think when we have joint boards, it's good to have a neutral place.
That's April 4th.
Wednesday, 7 o'clock.
That need to be put on an agenda, or is that?
We should post it, yeah.
What time did we decide?
What's that?
What time did we decide?
7.
7?
Oh, well, first Wednesday, is that back room used?
It may be. We haven't decided if it's going to be yet, but there's room for 20 people in that front room too, so
Okay, all right,
either way, we'll make it work.
okay. Regardless of how this works out, I really appreciate the work that you guys did of compiling this information and the information you guys brought us. It's nice for us, regardless of the decision we make, to have as many facts and data in front of us as possible. So thank you for that.
I'll leave copies of this for the solid waste board. They won't.
Thank you. Ron, would you be willing to drive that route even just in your regular truck to get a feel for the two routes and?
I've driven it
give us
once in
pros
the
and
pickup,
cons?
just specifically to look at things,
Okay,
and it took a little longer in a pickup, but in a semi, it's gonna take considerably longer time.
okay. Also getting a feel for traffic, stops, that angle,
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. Just a list of pros and cons would be beneficial.
I may be able to do some video
Okay,
of what it looks like, if my camera wants to work.
sounds good. You can borrow ours.
One question, mostly for Dave, I guess. If the county commissioners could pursue a interlocal agreement, would there be issues with you on that if we decided to go with Lewis and Clark?
I'm sure that we consider legal action against the city. They signed an agreement with us. It was ready to go to court in 2001 when they decided to give up the fight to haul out of city waste. I mean, they're a city government. And it wasn't just our company, it was the entire Montana Solid Waste Association that was taking them to court. Because can you imagine if, say, Billings, City of Billings, with as much money as they have behind them in taxpayer fees, could all of a sudden get out in the private sector? They might be hauling your garbage, you know.
as a resident of Lewis and Clark County too, the aspect of the city, the liability of hauling that, just the 60 miles, in the wintertime, I'm sure that all, adding that onto our liability, because you aren't liable if that truck wrecks. Us as taxpayers are liable, and that's huge in my opinion. Just in how much are they gonna save you? Relatively, the cost of transportation is pretty basic and defined. And I mean, to save you any money is tough to say at that point in time. And then if they don't, and they lose money, but still saving you money, who's gonna pay for that? That's relative to being a resident of Lewis and Clark County, it's my feelings here. So, we're on the hook no matter what they tie into, you know what I mean? Whether they are basically doing it what they're saying they're doing, we're on the hook, it doesn't matter, okay?
But to answer your question, I'm sure that the Solid Waste Association would probably have it back in court.
But
Not just us, let's put it that
I
way.
think it has to go before the PSC, doesn't it?
And we'd probably fight that too.
And it wouldn't just be Tri-County, it would be the whole association. We want that all the private contractors too. Would be involved in that because they were the last time too.
But that would be on Lewis and Clark, though, wouldn't it? It wouldn't be on Broadwater County.
No, no.
Well, I guess we will table this until after our April 4th meeting. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair. Could we get a copy?
Absolutely, you're welcome to those.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I guess we would move on to the adoption of the emergency resolution of county flooding.
Yeah.
We already made the decision, we just have to make it formal.
Correct. So I will move that we reaffirm the decision to sign the emergency resolution for county flooding.
Motion's been made and seconded to reaffirm the resolution of county flooding. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same. Motion carries.
Guys want copies of that resolution? Already signed.
Thank you.
You're certainly welcome. Here's a list of county roads that flooding. We don't have Rolling Glen Ranch Road. Should have.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Kind of where we're at now. Most of the water's gone down.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Mike, do you have an extra one of those Roddy Gun Club letters for the record?
I don't have an extra one, but I can give you one and get a copy.
And do you have this one too?
No, I didn't get them. You did, yeah.
How about this one?
Oh, thank
All
you.
right. Did you get this one from Mike?
Yes.
Okay. And what Ann does, just, she takes a picture of just the front page of all of these, referenced in minutes.
Okay.
And she's got a phrase that says, if you want to see the documents, you can see the commissioners.
Okay.
And then she gives us back the originals and file.
Okay, and she takes a picture with,
Just a photocopy.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But instead of going through this whole thing, she just does the
Front
top.
page.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
It's gonna happen on the other day, especially if you know, sitting on the sidelines. Just like, oh,
Okay, let's see, next is Warren Flynn. Warren, you got your, whatever it is you're ready for?
I got a bunch of guys coming, but they're, I was told 12:15, so.
Oh, okay, 12:10.
Yeah, 12:10. I'd rather wait if I could.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just take a short recess here until 12:10 then.
What time is it? 11. I'll go ahead and turn off the camera.
I can do that.
Oh,
Just hit that button again.
Mhm. Yeah, and you'll see the little timer will stop.
Okay.